Law 5. The Law of Motivation. Stan was confused. He read in the Bible and was taught in church that it was more blessed to give than to receive, but he found that this often was not true. He frequently felt unappreciated for all he was doing. He wished people would have more consideration for his time and energy. Yet, whenever someone wanted something from him, he would do it. He thought this was loving, and he wanted to be a loving person. Finally, when the fatigue grew into depression, he came to see me, Henry. When I asked what was wrong, Stan replied that he was loving too much. How can you love too much? I asked. I've never heard of such a thing. Oh, it's very simple, replied Stan. I do far more for people than I should, and that makes me very depressed. I'm not quite sure what you are doing, I said, but it certainly isn't love. The Bible says that true love leads to a blessed state and a state of cheer. Love brings happiness, not depression. If your loving is depressing you, it's probably not love. I don't see how you can say that. I do so much for everyone. I give and give and give. How can you say that I am not loving? I can say that because of the fruit of your actions. You should be feeling happy, not depressed. Why don't you tell me some of the things that you do for people? As we spent more time together, Stan learned that a lot of his doing and sacrificing was not motivated by love but by fear. Stan had learned early in life that if he did not do what his mother wanted, she would withdraw love from him. As a result, Stan learned to give reluctantly. His motive for giving was not love, but fear of losing love. Stan was also afraid of other people's anger. Because his father frequently yelled at him when he was a boy, he learned to fear angry confrontations. This fear kept him out from saying no to others. Self-centered people often get angry when someone tells them no. Stan said yes out of fear that he would lose love and that other people would get angry at him. These false motives and others keep us from setting boundaries. Number one, fear of loss of love or abandonment. People say yes and then resent saying yes, fear losing someone's love. This is the dominant motive of martyrs. They give to get love, and when they don't get it, they feel abandoned. Number two, fear of others' anger. Because of old hurts and poor boundaries, some people can't stand for anyone to be mad at them. Number three, fear of loneliness. Some people give in to others because they feel that they will win love and end their loneliness. Number four, fear of losing the good me inside. We are made to love. As a result, when we are not loving, we are in pain. Many people cannot say, I love you, and do not want to do that. Such a statement does not make sense to them. They think that to love means to always say yes. Guilt. Number five. Many people giving is motivated by guilt. They are trying to do enough good things to overcome the guilt inside and feel good about themselves. When they say no, they feel bad. So they keep trying to earn a sense of goodness. Number six, payback. Many people have received things with guilt messages attached. For example, their parents say things like, I never had it as good as you. You should be ashamed at all you get. They feel a burden to pay for all the things they had been given. Number 7, approval. Many feel as if they are still children seeking parental approval. Therefore, when someone wants something from them, they need to give so that this symbolic parent will be well pleased. Number 8, over identification with the other's loss. Many people, many times, people have not dealt with their own disappointments and losses. So, whenever they deprive someone else with a no, they feel the other person's sadness to the 9th degree. They can't stand to hurt someone that badly, so they comply. The point is this: we are called into freedom, and this freedom results in gratitude, an overflowing heart, and love for others. To give bountifully has great reward. It is truly more blessed to give than to receive. If your giving is not leading to cheer, then you need to examine the law of motivation. The law of motivation says this: freedom first, service second. If you serve to get free of your fear, you are doomed to failure. Let God work on the fears, resolve them, and create some healthy boundaries to guard the freedom you were called to. Law 6, the law of evaluation. But if I told you I wanted to do that, wouldn't he be hurt? Jason asked. When Jason told me, Henry, he wished to assume responsibility for asking his business partner for performing poorly, I encouraged him to talk to his partner. Sure, he might be hurt, I said in response to his question. So what's your problem? Well, I wouldn't want to hurt him, Jason said, looking at me as though I should have known that. I'm sure that you would not want to hurt him, I said, but what does that have to do with the decision you have to make? Well, I couldn't just make a decision without taking his feelings into account. That's cruel. I agree with you. That would be cruel. But when are you going to tell him? You just said that to tell him would hurt him, and that would be cruel, Jason said, perplexed. No, I didn't. I replied. I said to tell him without considering his feelings would be cruel. That is very different from not doing what you need to do. I don't see any difference. It would still hurt him, but it would not harm him, and that's the big difference. If anything, the hurt would help him. Now I'm really confused. How can it possibly help to hurt him? Well, have you ever gone to the dentist? I asked. Sure. Did the dentist hurt you when he drilled your tooth to remove the cavity? Yes. Did he harm you? No, he made me feel better. Hurt and harm are different, I pointed out. When you ate the sugar and that gave you the cavity, did that hurt? No, it tasted good, he said, with a smile that told me he was catching on. Did it harm you? Yes. That's my point. Things can hurt, not harm you. Us. In fact, they can even be good for us. And things that feel good can be very harmful to us. You need to evaluate the effect of setting boundaries and be responsible to the other person. But that does not mean you should avoid setting boundaries because someone responds with hurt or anger. To have boundaries in this instance, Jason's saying no to his partner is to live a purposeful life. Jesus refers to it as the narrow gate. It is always easier to go through the broad gate of destruction and continue not to set boundaries we need to. But the result is always the same: destruction. Only the honest, purposeful life leads to good fruit. Deciding to set boundaries is difficult because it requires decision making and confrontation, which in turn may cause pain to someone you love. We need to evaluate the pain caused by our making choices and emphasize it with it. Empathize with it. Take Sandy, for example. Sandy chose to go skiing with friends instead of going home for Christmas vacation. Her mother was sad and disappointed, but she was not harmed. Sandy's decision caused sadness, but her mother's sadness should not cause Sandy to change her mind. A loving response to her mother's hurt would be, "Oh, Mom, I'm sad that we won't be together too. I'm looking forward to next summer's visit." If Sandy's mother respected her freedom to make choices, she would say something like this: "I'm so disappointed that you're not coming home for Christmas, but I hope you all have a great time." She would be owning her disappointment and respecting Sandy's choice to spend her time with friends. We cause pain by making choices that others do not like, but we also cause pain by confronting people when they are wrong. But if we do not share our anger with another, bitterness and hatred can set in. We need to be honest with one another about how we are hurt. Speak truthfully to your neighbor, for you are all members of one body. Ephesians 4 verse 25. As iron sharpens iron, we need confrontation and truth from others to grow. No one likes to hear negative things about him or herself, but in the long run it may be good for us. The Bible says if we are wise, we will learn from it. Admonition from a friend, while it can hurt, can also help. We need to evaluate the pain our confrontation causes other people. We need to see how this hurt is helpful to others and sometimes the best thing we can do for them and the relationship. We need to evaluate the pain in a positive light. Law 7, the law of proactivity. For every action there is an equal and opposite reaction. Paul says that wrath and sinful passions are a direct reaction to the severity of the law. Romans 4 verse 15, 5 verse 20, and 7 verse 5. In Ephesians and Colossians, he says that wrath and disillusionment can be reactions to parental injustice. Ephesians 6 verse 4, Colossians 3 verse 21. Many of us have known people who, after years of being passive and compliant, suddenly go ballistic, and we wonder what happened. We blame it on the counselor and are seeing or the company they have been keeping. In reality, they had been complying for years, and their pent-up rage explodes. This reactive phase of boundary creation is helpful, especially for victims. They need to get out of the powerless, victimized place in which they may have been forced by physical and sexual abuse or by emotional blackmail and manipulation. We should herald their emancipation. But when is enough enough? Reaction phases are necessary but not sufficient for the establishment of boundaries. It is crucial for the 2-year-old to know the peas at to throw peas at mommy, but to continue that until 43 is too much. It is crucial for victims of abuse to feel the rage and hatred of being powerless, but to be screaming victims' rights for the rest of their life is being stuck in a victim mentality. Emotionally, the reactive stance brings diminishing returns. You must react to find your own boundaries, but have found them. But having found them, you must not use your freedom to satisfy your sinful nature. But if you are always biting and devouring one another, watch out. Beware of destroying one another. Galatians 5, verse 13, 15, and 15. Eventually, you must rejoin the human race and you have reacted to, and establish connections as equals, loving your neighbor as yourself. This is the beginning of the establishment of proactive instead of reactive boundaries. This is where you are able to use the freedom you gain through reacting to love, enjoy and serve one another. Proactive people show you what they love, what they want, and what they purpose and what they stand for. These people are very different from those who are known by what they hate. They don't like what they stand against and what they will not do. While reactive victims are primarily known by their against stances, proactive people do not demand rights, they live them. Power is not something you demand or deserve, it is something you express. The ultimate expression of power is love. It is the ability to not to express power, but to restrain it. Proactive people are able to love others as themselves. They have mutual respect. They are able to die to self and not return evil for evil. They have gotten past the reactive stances of the law and are able to love and not react. Listen to Jesus compare the reactive person who is still controlled by the law and others with the free person. You have heard that was said, eye for an eye and tooth for a tooth. But I tell you, do not resist an evil person. If someone slaps you on the right cheek, turn to them the other cheek also. Matthew 5:38 through 39. Do not try to get to freedom without owning your reactive period and feelings. You do not need to act this out, but you do need to express the feelings you need to practice and gain assertiveness. You need to get far enough away from abusive people to be able to fence your property against further invasion. And then you need to own the treasures you find in your soul. Do not stay there. Spiritual adulthood has higher goals than finding yourself. A reactive stage is a stage, but an identity, not an identity. It is necessary but not sufficient. Law 8. The Law of Envy. The New Testament speaks strongly against envious heart. Consider James. You desire, but do not have, so you kill. You covet, but you cannot get what you want, so you quarrel and fight. James 4, verse 2. What does envy have to do with boundaries? Envy is probably the basest emotion we have. A direct result of the fall, it was Satan's sin. The Bible says that he had a wish to be like the Most High. Isaiah 14, verse 14. He envied God. In turn, he tempted Adam and Eve with the same idea, telling them that they could be like God also. Satan and our parents. Adam and Eve were not satisfied with who they were and could rightfully become. They wanted what they did not have, and it destroyed them. Envy defines good as what I do not possess, and hates the good that it has. How many times have you heard someone subtly put down the accomplishments of others, somehow robbing them of the goodness that they had attained? We all have envious parts to our personalities, but what is so destructive about this particular sin is that it guarantees that we will not get what we want and keep us perpetually insatiable and dissatisfied. This is not to say that it is wrong to want things we do not have. God has said that He will give us the desires of our heart. The problem with envy is that it focuses outside our boundaries, onto others. If we are focusing on what others have or have accomplished, we are neglecting our responsibility and will ultimately have an empty heart. Look at the difference in Galatians 6, verse 4. Each one should test their own actions. Then they can take pride in themselves alone, without comparing themselves to someone else. Envy is a self-perpetuating cycle. Boundaryless people feel empty and unfulfilled. They look at another sense of fullness and feel envious. This time and energy needs to be spent on taking responsibility for their lack and doing something about it. Taking action is the only way out. You have not because you ask not, and the Bible supports because you work not. Possessions and compliments are not the only thing we envy. We can envy a person's character and personality instead of developing the gifts God has given us. Romans 12, verse 6. Think of these situations. A lonely man stays isolated and envious of the close relationship others have. A single woman withdraws from social life, envying the marriage and families of her friends. A middle-aged woman feels stuck in her career and wants to pursue something she would enjoy, yet she always has a yes, but reason why she can't, resenting and envying those who have gone for it. A man chooses the righteous life, but envies and resents those who seem to be having all the fun. These people are all negating their own actions and comparing themselves to another. Galatians 6, verse 4. Staying stuck and resentful. Notice the difference between those statements and these. A lonely man owns his lack of relationship and asks himself and God, I wonder why I always withdraw from people. I can at least go and talk to a counselor about this. Even if I am afraid of social situations, I could seek some help. No one should live this way. I'll make the call. The single woman asks, I wonder why I never get asked out and why I keep getting turned down for dates. What is it? What is wrong about what I am doing or how I'm communicating or where I'm going to meet people? How could I become a more interesting person? Maybe I could join a therapy group to find out why, or could use a dating site to find people with interests similar to mine. The middle-aged woman asks herself, why am I reluctant to pursue my interest? Why do I feel selfish when I want to quit my job to do something I enjoy? What am I afraid of? If I were really honest, I would notice that the ones who are doing what they like and have to take some risks and sometimes work and go to school to change jobs, that they may just be more than I am willing to do. The righteous man asks himself, if I am really choosing to love and serve God, why do I feel like a slave? What is wrong with my spiritual life? What is it about me that envies someone living in the gutter? Small break. These people are questioning themselves instead of envying others. Your envy should always be a sign to you that you are lacking something. At that moment, you should ask God to help you understand what you resent, why you do not have whatever you are envying, and whether you truly desire it. Ask Him to show you what you need to do to get there or to give up the desire.